Welcome to the Tell Her podcast, where extraordinary, ordinary women share real stories of resilience and courage.
Yeah, gorgeous.
So, welcome to the podcast. Today we've got Marie from Cloud9, and I wanted Cloud9 to come on because we're using Cloud9 ourselves in the clinic, and they have been a game changer, especially for me, because I've always been afraid to let clients use heat because you never really know what they're going to do with that tool, especially when they're not in control of it fully. And one of the things with Cloud9 is obviously you've got your temperature control and that kind of stuff, and that's really helped me as a stylist. But what I have noticed is that a lot of our clients are afraid of heat as well. So I really wanted Cloud9 to come in because I know that you're all very science-based, but all about being very natural and soft and the kind of thing that my clients are looking for. But I think a lot of people that will be listening to this podcast will be at different points in their life where they're having different experiences, but all comes back to the same thing. And that is that even though technology's changed and things have moved forward, we don't really know about it as a consumer. And yeah, so I just thought if we kind of go over all that stuff, but first and foremost, we'll go back to who you are, your background, and why you aligned with Cloud9 in the first place. So that's a lot of waffling from me, so let's go right back.
Wow, what a lot to cover. Well, thank you so much, Shani, for inviting myself and Cloud9 into this space.
Thank you.
My name is Marie Nieuwoudt. I'm the Group Education Manager for Cloud9. But I'm also, first and foremost and always, I am a hairdresser, and I've been a hairdresser for 38 years. I absolutely adore being a hairdresser, and I'm massively proud to be a hairdresser. It's such an important job to be put in the space of caring for somebody's hair.
Yeah.
It's such a massive role. Hair is so important to us. How we express ourselves, how we care for ourselves. Hair is a huge part of that piece. And I love being a hairdresser. I love being connected with my clients.
Yeah.
I love being on that journey of life with them for the whole of life.
Yes.
I think it's only now, kind of after so many decades in hairdressing, do I realise and look at my younger stylist self of the information I didn't have.
Yeah, God, yeah.
And I definitely, as a stylist in my late teens, early 20s, I absolutely, my knowledge of hair loss, postpartum, hair concerns was basic, but it's only that depth of decades and hands in hair do you get that knowledge about types of hair loss, postpartum hair, not even touching on menopausal hair. I remember in my 20s, menopause hair would come in, the tissues would come out, and I'd be struggling to find the right terminology.
Yeah. Massively. I think
to talk about.
Yeah, that is a big problem, I think, in the industry, knowing the stylist being confident enough to acknowledge something without making the client feel uncomfortable or...
Oh, I know. Yeah. I think hairdressing, I mean, let's get back to basics. Hairdressing is a trade.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few trades where you have to have so many soft social skills alongside that. I don't see any other physical hands-on trades that have to have this beautiful, almost like psychology degree to run alongside it, to be able to care for everybody and everybody's needs at different points. So I definitely think that's something you learn with time and experience in the salon. And then depending on which pathway you go down in hairdressing, do you then kind of amplify and expand in those spaces? And I definitely think that hair loss, menopause, and looking at women on that hormone journey is almost like a separate subject.
Yeah, like a specialist subject.
It's like a specialist subject, as well as the technical.
Yeah.
So being a hairdresser is such a multifaceted skill set, which for me is... You're always in a space of learning. Even now, I'm 54. Even now at 54, and very much in the storms of menopause myself, I'm still learning, and I will and you can learn from so many different people, like and with our youth team, and they bring so much to the table, and you're learning skills all the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that being open to learning new skills as well is like really important. And once we believe that we know everything, that's when you kind of can slip up.
Oh, yeah, I say when you go, oh, I know everything, it's time to put those scissors down and walk away.
Yeah, I'm definitely learning still every single day. And every single client, because they're completely different.
Yeah.
And I think as a client and a consumer, they have evolved and changed. Like I know when I first started, no one really cared about the health of the hair. All they cared about was it like this rock solid hairspray. Everybody had a 15-minute slot, and we had 3 products, and that was in a clear bottle with a white label on, and it just said serum. And then you had hairspray and wax, and that was it. Like life was so different then.
Well, it was all about the style, wasn't it? I mean, I can go back a decade further when you were booked in for your perm one week and then your highlights the next, and we were all praying at the backwash that it was staying on.
Pulling the highlight cap off, hoping it's not still in the cap.
Pulling that cap out. It didn't need a haircut, it had a chemical cut.
Yes.
And absolutely, we were not heat aware. And I think I've always been heat aware because I've always had a really varied clientele.
Okay.
I mean, I started hairdressing at 15, 16. And when I went to Steiner, my foundation for education on hair and hair types really kind of was cemented then. And that kind of heat awareness was starting to kind of come into the conversation a little bit. And only when I went to Australia and I was dealing with a whole new different situation for hair, the sun exposure,
of course, yeah.
the changing UV, water lifestyle, then you're looking at this hair fabric that you're so confident with, and now we've got a different set of benchmarks. So you're like, okay, what does this hair need?
I have a lot of students in Australia.
Yeah.
I've not really thought about the fact that I always think about heat as in the person wearing the hair because of what I do, not actually thinking about the hair itself.
For me, many factors come into play with hair care. Pollution, UV, and just the general day-to-day before we even go into that space of heat on hair. Yeah. So there's a lot of different factors. So definitely when I was there, how people cared for their hair after the hair salon visit. And when I'm teaching now, I talk an awful lot about post-service consultation. Okay. And you will know this, that when we're training at college, it's all about when the client comes in, it's that having that eye level, looking at the hair, analysing the history, and then you do the service, and it could have been a big bleach service, it could have had toner on there. By the time you've finished, you're kind of relieved in that student space. The model's relieved, the student's relieved, and that kind of aftercare consultation kind of gets the shortest amount of time, where for me as a professional, that space is probably one of the most important spaces that you have with your client, because what you're doing is you're giving that client their hair and the knowledge to look after that for the 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks until they come back. And that is vitally important, because certainly in my 20s and 30s, I didn't say to my colour clients, and by the way, what temperature will you be styling at in between? I just didn't do it.
No.
I was like,
see you later.
See you later. Bye-bye.
I know.
Off you go. Fingers crossed you've looked after it when you come back. And I was really, I'd recommended the right shampoo, the right conditioner, and I'm very all about practice over product.
Yeah.
So there'll be my clients out there who, I'm an old battle axe when it comes to this is how you shampoo your hair, this is how you apply the treatment, this is how you apply the conditioner, this is how, that format of layering the product so you get a beautiful hair result every time. So I'm a bit of a battle axe. I'm
the same, but I always just say to my client, even during the initial consultation, that it's a teamwork, it's a team effort, and that one of the most important things for me is that we're able to communicate, because without the communication, then we're both going to get lost in this process. So for me, if I can't communicate with somebody, then I'm like, right, okay, we need to think about if they're better with somebody else who they can communicate with, because if they don't understand what I'm saying, or I'm not able to teach them. So at the end of the day, I think if we've gone to college or taken all of this extra education and we expect them to just have the knowledge And then when they come back and say, why did you do that? And it's like, well, I never taught them. Like, that's on me to make sure I educate them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just expecting them to have all of that knowledge that we've invested in. So I am really in that initial consultation, and like you say, at the end of a service, and almost sometimes I'll say, I sound like I'm talking somebody out of something, but I'm like, if you know all of the pros and the cons, you can make a decision going into this, what you want to do, and that you're willing to commit to the aftercare.
Absolutely. And it's meeting somebody at their knowledge point.
Yeah.
Definitely in that teaching space, you've got this wealth of knowledge, and sometimes you can impart all that knowledge and it's just too much. So it's, for me with a client, it's meeting them at their point. Where are they now? What's that routine looking like now?
Yeah.
And then baby steps, bite-sized bits of information or small practices we can implement to start putting that process. Because the one thing I always say, and I speak to so many people about hair and hair care, and the biggest ingredient or product or thing you need to give your hair is time.
Yeah.
It's time and knowledge. We are such in that space where skin, health, nutrition, that really gets all the space.
Yeah.
It gets all the attention, all the space, where really hair, people have such a small amount of time for that. As a stylist, I would definitely get clients come in and go, I've been on this new diet, I'm doing this new health routine, I've got this new skincare, and I have to do this, and it takes this amount of time and this amount of time, and I've had a peel and a scrub and a this and a that. And I go, and did we have a hair mask on when any of this process was taking part? Oh no.
Yeah,
so it's that prioritising hair and making sure that in the self-care pie, your slice for the hair has just as much time as skin, nutrition, exercise, all of that kind of thing, that the hair is really a priority, because we've got a lot of expectation from hair.
Yeah, I'm saying the way it makes you feel is a big slice of that as well.
It's a big slice of the pie. It's a big slice of the pie. And as a stylist who has probably spent most of their career without social media, without that learning space of TikTok, social media, YouTube, we didn't have all that. So it was good old-fashioned. This is the information. You actually need 2 shampoos, 2 different types of shampoo to look after certain different hair types and scalp issues. This is the practice. And then suddenly with that onslaught of kind of lots of information, dipping your hair in a bit of peanut butter and rubbing a bit of this on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How are clients supposed to unpack all of that?
Yeah, it's a lot of information for them to take in, especially if you were talking about like taking care of clients like through their life journey, and like for me, we're going through treatments and like you say hormonal changes, different ages, that kind of thing. What they've been taught 5-10 years ago is not necessarily going to work for them right now.
Absolutely not.
So they might think they know everything, but if we're not re-educating and like you say those bite sizes at each appointment and assessing the hair, they're going to think they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily doing the best job for the hair either.
Yeah.
And then we end up in a position where it's like, okay, we need to start again. So I definitely think like the bite-size thing's really, really important.
Bite-size. And what people have to remember is hair is so connected to our hormone journey.
Yeah.
And I talk about us on the hormone highway with hair. There is, and people go to me, what shampoo should I use? And what should I do? And there's no one fixed. So if you think in a 1-month cycle of how you feel emotionally, how your hormones behave, especially in puberty, especially around pregnancy, especially around menopause, throughout that 1 month, our hormones probably doing this. Yeah. They're on that roller coaster. So therefore, it affects how our hair is. It affects how our scalp is. So it makes me smile when somebody goes, well, I got that shampoo, and now it's useless.
Yeah.
Yes, because our hair and our hormones change all the time. Probably in a month, 6-week cycle, you've probably done that. Yeah. So no, not one product, not one kind of program you've got. It doesn't fit at all times. So that's why when you go to the salon and you have your appointment every 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 9 weeks, that your hairdresser Even when you've had historic clients who've been with you 10, 20 years, they should have a fresh consultation.
Yeah, definitely.
How has your hair been? How's your skin been? How's your well-being been? We hairdressers, Shani, when you've had hair through your hands and you can see somebody's maybe got a deficiency in iron or vitamin D, you can feel it in the hair.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we look like magicians. Have you not been well? How are you feeling? How are you stressed? How did you know? Because you can feel it in the hair.
Yeah, I can.
So it's really, I think, we have to be kind to ourselves with hair.
Yeah.
We're really kind and realise that it does need a new prescription, a new regime every
I'm just thinking about my own shower, and I've done that without even realising. So I have 2 different shampoos. One's a little bit, so with my hairs, because it can go greasy.
Yeah.
So I'll use a more stringent one, which is not necessarily great for the ends of my hair, but I know that my scalp needs it.
Yeah.
But I always back that up with a really moisturising shampoo afterwards. So I might use one for my scalp, my first shampoo, and then a more moisture-based one for my second. But I think I've just done that without really realising that that's what I've done. And it's more because I'm trying new shampoos, because I experiment for clients.
Yeah.
And then I've realised that I've actually done that routine myself. And I have some clients where I even get them to wash the bottom of the hair with one shampoo and the top with another. Which all the clients now listening will be like, oh my God, stop giving me more things to do.
Well, it's
but in
not.
the long run, yeah.
You're just meeting your individual needs. And I think that's what we have to remember, is that every single client is unique, and what's working for your friend or working for somebody who's got kind of quite similar hair to you isn't you.
Yeah.
Your hair is as individual as your DNA.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So what's working for you won't work for somebody else. And I think very much in that space of marketing, you know, we all like to clump everybody's hair into categories. It's just not like that. Do you know what I mean? Hair is so unique. So you might find, and my gorgeous first teacher, Sam Spencer, she would say, if you've got a scalp problem, let's shampoo for the scalp, but if we've got bleached hair or long hair, if this hair is kind of aged hair, which is more brittle, less keratinized, it needs moisture, you have to kind of zone and treat for the zones. We do for our skin.
Yeah, we definitely
don't think anything of, well, I've got this cream for my neck, and I've got this cream for my eye, and I've got this cream for here. So why on earth wouldn't we have multi-products for different zones?
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, we don't, I've got hand cream. Oh, great.
Yeah.
So when we are unpacking our needs for our scalp and our hair, exactly that same thought process should be for your hair.
And I think, like you say, zoning it and thinking about it like the face. One of the examples that I use that people, when I'm talking about, so you've got curly hair.
Very curly hair.
I always like when people try and refresh the hair and they spray water on the hair. And one of the examples that I use is, well, when you lick your lips, what happens? They get drier. So if you keep wetting your hair and drying it, it's going to get drier and drier. We need to moisture that hair.
Absolutely.
And that really does help people, because, like you say, the lips are something that they think about automatically. They would always take care of them. If they're dry, they're going to get a lip balm. But we don't necessarily do the same for our hair. So I feel like as a stylist, it's just trying to create like teachings that make sense for the client.
Absolutely. So and a realistic pattern of expectation.
Yeah.
I think that's massively important to have. This is your hair. These are what your hair goals are, and this is the journey it's going to take, and the time and the effort and the products that you're going to have to put into that to get that result. And that's why the one thing about being at Cloud9 is having that lovely temperature calculator, which I bang on about all the time. I'm at college tomorrow. I'll be with 100 students, and it's about looking at the needs of your client at that point. Yeah. So what you may need one temperature at this time of your life, and then you might have a service, and you need to change temperatures, like you need to change products, and so it's assessing the client's needs at that particular point in time in that chair. And just like even how you've just said, even zoning the heat temperature. So like for some of my clients that come in, they might have finer hair around the front or experiencing a bit of hair loss, but quite thick, maybe curly hair at the back. So if they're not zoning the hair for heat, and they're using a higher temperature through the front is going to become more damaged. Absolutely. It's a funny thing, because in Australia, I actually think my clientele were really kind of quite heat aware. because
Yeah.
it was a hotter country.
Yeah.
There was lots of heat awareness. And they were really kind of clued up and savvy to, I'm not putting that heat on my hair. I'm not doing that. And so I think sometimes people just look at the tool and they go, oh, how hot does this go? And they just whack it up to the highest temperature. I'm like, well, I'm literally like holding my breath.
Yeah.
And I say when I'm teaching, I say, look, in every other area of our life, we are so heat aware.
Yeah.
But why not with our hair?
Yeah.
And I say, if you've got a gorgeous silk blouse, you're not taking that iron and iron it on a denim setting. What do? We look at the label and we go, what temperature do I need to treat this fabric, this individual silk fabric? How do I need to treat it? We even do that with our food. We look at the packet. What temperature am I cooking this at? So then why, with all the infinite hair types that we have around the world, infinite environment, UV, pollution, then add on hair services, texture stretches, perms, colours, bleaching. Why are we not looking at the temperature I need to style my hair at? Because what we all want beautiful hair that looks good, but that also feels good. We want to be, because hair is such a sensory thing. We want to be able to do this, touch and go, oh, that feels nice. Yeah. That feels lovely.
Yeah, gone are the days where you used to get your hands trapped in there.
Oh no, I remember the 80s. There was no touching. There was no touching the hair. There was no running the hands through the hair. It was like rock.
Yeah, I think people, like say, they are more sensory now and enjoy beautiful hair.
Yeah,
now.
Absolutely.
Even when people are having vivid colours, that kind of thing, they still want it to be beautiful. They still want like that beautiful wave and everything.
Yeah.
So I think like the industry itself has changed, but like we were saying, the clientele's changed with our clients now. So like say my clients who are experiencing hair loss or wearing wigs and toppers, that kind of thing, I think they are afraid of heat because I feel like we've gone through this journey with heat tools where I remember begging my first ever salon for a pair of straighteners. They were about this wide, massive, and I had to explain to them what they were, and I was like, and you clamp the hair and you pull it down, and they were explaining, and they were like, oh no, but eventually they did let me get some for the salon, and then we introduced can you remember the straighteners where you put water in them?
Oh, yes,
remember them?
Yes.
And then the steam would be coming off while you were doing someone's hair, and I think we all got really excited, and then we all started to see the damage that was happening.
Absolutely.
And then I think clients then start to experience damage. Yeah. Everybody's hair's getting short. You've got triangles missing at the back, sides missing. And then everyone's backed away a little bit from heat. And
Absolutely.
then we're back to, all the technology's kind of changed now. So now I think as stylists, we look at re-educating ourselves, but also the client as well. And I don't know if stylists, we've always had this thing where we're afraid of educating the client because it feels like a sales pitch.
And it's not at all, because when that's your client in your chair, they've already chosen you.
Yeah.
They already trust you that you're going to choose the correct style, the correct colour, that you've chosen the correct colour brand that works, that you've chosen the correct wet line that they love to get results for their clients.
Yeah.
And I think definitely, I totally agree with that journey of heated tools. Really, I saw that whole journey kind of evolve. And the one thing about Cloud9, we are a hair heritage brand.
Yeah.
So it is designed by hairdressers for hairdressers.
Yeah.
You just mentioned a word there which kind of triggered me a little bit. Clamp, we cushion. And so with Cloud9, all of the technologies, everything from our floating plates, which have got the best suspension into cushion hair, every technology is there to be kind to hair, to really empower somebody to be able to look after their hair. One thing I have noticed definitely over the last, I'd say 10 years, is the narrative that's out there in that kind of world of information. And when anybody writes about how to look after your hair in those spaces where you probably need that hair confidence the most, where if you're going through treatment, if you're going through hair loss, if you're going through menopause, postpartum hair, anything that raises a hair concern, you read, do not colour your hair and do not put heat on your hair.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, then how am I supposed to do this? Because I know for myself, if I'm going through any kind of emotional or health crisis, I internalise. I'm certainly not one who will be talking about it. And I kind of think, if I look all right, if my hair looks all right, I can deal with all my 48 symptoms of menopause, which on any given day it could be a selection of, but as long as my hair looks okay.
Yeah.
So I think once that's taken away from you, because I'm reading in the magazine, online, here, there and everywhere, that I mustn't colour it and I mustn't heat style it, it puts you into a space of almost hair panic.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to kind of leave the house? And believe you me, I've had those days where I'm like, I just can't do today.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to put that correct information out there, that actually heat used correctly for your unique hair type is a part of the repair journey.
Yes.
And I think one of the biggest myths, and I've had many a client sat in my chair, they go, oh, I air dry my hair. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, I air dry my hair. And they may have fine hair that's bleached. And I don't want to get too teachery or sciencey, but we all know that cuticle layers, and they are a lot like roofs, tiles, that they lay flat. Yeah. So laying flat is the thing that gives us that beautiful shine. So obviously we've got that keratin, we've got 7 layers of lovely cuticles. We know when we've got that lovely shine, it's that those cuticles are laid flat. So if you've got fine hair and then you've decided to have a bleach treatment or you're in the sun a lot, we know that those cuticles are just slightly raised, so that if you leave that to air dry, when you come to brush that, you'll go, oh, and the brush will kind of tag about here and there'll be a little knot. And that's those cuticles going, oh, what are you doing to me? And you get that kind of knotty, tangly feeling. So actually, the correct way to look after your fine, slightly bleached hair is to shampoo. I'm a firm advocate for always towel drying before you put any kind of light conditioner on, so that you make a space for that to absorb. And it drives me to distraction. And every time I'm with a client, I'm going, and I can feel it. I can feel how you shampoo your hair just with these magic fingers. And I go, and you have to take all the water out. If you've got fine hair that's bleached, you have to take all the water out for that conditioner to do its job properly. Otherwise, it's just going to be surface smooth.
I'm going to say, because then the hair's full of water.
The hair's full of water. Yeah. And people go, they look at me as if to go, right. And I go, would you put moisturiser on wet skin? Oh, no. Yeah. Why not? Well, it wouldn't soak in. Well, there you go. It's the same. It's that same technology. It's the same for hair, same principle, absolutely. So there is a massive kind of misinformation of what makes beautiful, silky, lovely hair. Yeah. So if I do have a client who's fine, who's got bleached hair, I will say, actually, put your dryer on a really low heat and gently dry, smooth that cuticle down. Make sure you've got some, I use Magical Remedy and Magical Potion over there, and just to give that cuticle best chance to just lay flat and be a part of a repair journey. So I've got clients who've got really fine bleached hair, who've probably either been through a health journey or a growing journey, and I will say blow dry that smooth, and you can get your original irons with revive mode on at 100, one pass, and that's it. You're set up for the week then. Yeah.
For a lot of hairdressers will obviously be listening to this, hopefully, but also a lot of people who are experiencing hair loss or, like you say, going through menopause. I know it's going right back to basics, but as a hairdresser with all your experience and, like you say, understanding that journey, what should it actually look like when you wash your hair? Like, what is that routine? Like, right back to basics. So
Right back to basics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if you've never washed your hair before in your life and
Okay.
somebody's teaching you to wash your hair, what does that look like?
So I have a couple of different ways of people how they can shampoo certain hair types and scalp conditions.
Okay.
Because I know there's been a huge thing about co-washing for curly hair, and I put the conditioner on first, and I do this first, and in my head I'm like, okay, how is our scalp? So that scalp has to be clean. Yeah. And for me, you should be shampooing your hair once or twice a week. Yeah. If you've got really kind of curly hair or type 4 hair, you can kind of shampoo definitely, I'd say, once to twice in a 10, 12-day cycle. But you do need to wash that scalp, because obviously that's where the bacteria loves to hang out and partay. So you definitely need to look at the scalp. How's your scalp going? Yeah. So, and then you need to look at the hair. So, do I need 2 shampoos? Do I need something for my scalp, and do I need something for my hair? And then is my hair, is it coloured? Well, do we have a balayage? Is this all natural and this all bleached? So look at the hair, look at your particular hair type and see what products do I need for this to be clean and healthy. So then I will always say, make sure, if you're not sure, go to your hairdresser and have a lovely consultation and say, please, can you look at my scalp and my hair type? Whatever I'm choosing is not sitting right with me, and get a lovely, well thought out consultation with a really good hairdresser to recommend some products. When you're in the shower, if you've got oily hair and you think, oh, my hair's so oily, I can't get rid of this oil, what's the first thing people do when they go in the shower? They put the water on first. Yes. So we were taught back in the day, if a client has really oily hair, take the shampoo and put the shampoo on the scalp. Gently emulsify that in, and I focus on gently, not scrubbing the dog. Put that on, work that into the area where the scalp is and the sebaceous glands are, and just let that sit for a minute. Yeah. Let that shampoo do its job to remove the oil, and then work it through the hair. Yeah. Then add the water. So would you treat your scalp, wash it, like, again, thinking about zoning, because it'll help clients. So concentrate on cleaning the scalp and then cleaning the hair. Because I think a lot of people, especially if they've got long hair, will kind of slap the hair kind of on top of the head, and they're going absolutely crazy. And if you think about like some of the adverts where it's like big bubbles and because you're worth it and all this stuff, I think the things that we're seeing on TV, that's not actually how you wash your hair. But are people actually taught how to wash the hair? I don't think they really are. Well, I don't think they are, because for me, rinsing is a huge piece. People don't rinse enough. And I sound like an old battle axe. No, you don't, because it's true. Because what I experience with what I do, if somebody's wearing alternative hair or extensions and they don't rinse, they will think their hair's brittle, but they're putting heat on top of a product that's like basically should have been rinsed out a long time ago, and then they're not identifying what the problem is. They think it's the styling or the heat or something, but it's actually shampoo that they've left in or conditioner that's left in. And so what you get kind of like a steamy residue coming off when you put the heat on. They go, it's burning my hair. No, it's actually the excess product that you haven't rinsed out of your hair. Yeah. So it could be that. So my tip is make sure that you've got the right shampoo for your scalp type and your hair type, and look at that hair. If you've got really long hair, this hair down here is old. It's tired. It's probably between 5 and 7 years old. Yeah. It's probably had, especially this top layer has had most sun exposure. So make sure you've got the right shampoo and conditioner first for your particular hair type. And then when you're actually in the shower, so obviously for our oily, congested at the roots there, we're going to put that shampoo on, emulsify in, leave it sit for a minute, then rinse. Yeah. And then for everybody else, you can add a little bit of water, shampoo, and make sure you've emulsified nice and gently. We don't need to be scrubbing, but we do need to make sure that we get around the occipital bone, work up to the crown, and make sure that everywhere has been evenly shampooed. Yeah. Then you're going to rinse, then shampoo again. I'm here for the 2 shampoos. Me too. I know it might be controversial, you might want to do it once, but I'm sorry. For me, it's. Yeah, I always just explain to people that your first shampoo is surface, so it's environmental. It's not actually cleaning the hair
And that I find that that's the easiest way to kind of explain it. And then the second one is to take care of the hair. And that kind of seems to help my clients understand why we do it.
Yeah.
And also that not to necessarily expect the first shampoo to get really like soapy.
No,
soapy, is that the wrong word?
Yeah.
Emulsified.
Yeah, emulsify that lather.
Yeah,
everybody
lathered.
loves the lather.
Yeah.
Where actually people overuse shampoo massively because they're wanting the lather. Where actually shampoo is like a little lollipop stick. And it attaches itself to a piece of dirt and then to rinse away. So don't worry if you don't get that lather and that lovely kind of advertorial shampoo experience, because that shampoo is doing its job. It's attaching onto pollution, dirt, bacteria, and rinsing it off. So that's actually okay if that first shampoo isn't like that.
Yeah.
Then the next shampoo, emulsify through and rinse. And then you must rinse for about at least 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you've got really long, thick hair, even longer.
Yeah, if you've got a hair system on, even
and if you've
longer.
got a hair system on, even longer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a wig, gosh, when you're washing wigs and you'll think it's rinsed and you'll open it up and you'll still see the shampoo there. I always explain it's part of the commitment is that shampoo time and the rinsing time. And I always explain to clients that, especially the first time, it might feel a bit too much and a bit overwhelming, but it'll just become very normal very quickly to do it that way.
Absolutely.
And that everything that they're doing in the shower is prepping them to make everything easier afterwards.
Absolutely. That's when people talk about styling to me, I go, it starts at the shampoo and how you practice your routine to get to the point of styling has a massive impact on that styling result.
Yeah.
Because if you've left any debris or oil on the scalp, you're not going to get the beautiful results that you need.
Yeah.
So then after we've done the shampoo, we're only even at the shampoo, do you know what I mean? After you've done the shampoo, I always squeeze out the water gently. And I can't stress enough how to be kind to your hair. You just need to be kind. So we're squeezing out the water, and then I want you to have a towel. And everyone goes, oh, I have to get out of the shower. But just do it. Just get your towel, take your hair and towel dry this hair, because we want to take all the water out of this. We want to create a space for the conditioner or the treatment to work. So people will go, oh, well, I use the Gucci or the Prada or the Mulberry of conditioners. Oh, yeah, well, you're not using it correctly. I go, practice over product every time.
Yeah.
So you've got to take out that water, because hair is a tube, isn't it? If we look at hair, it's a tube. So if you've got any bleach work or any type of colour work, or the hair is porous, naturally curly, that tube is going to be full of water. So if we don't take out the water, where will this conditioner penetrate into? There's no space. So you have to take out all that water to leave room for whatever beautiful product you've bought to absorb and do its job.
Yeah. It makes complete sense as well.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
None of us would put moisturiser onto wet skin because we know it would create a barrier. Yeah. So if that one hair strand is full of water and you're there with your $1 million conditioner,
it's just sitting on the outside and sliding off.
It's just sliding off, and it's just making its surface smooth.
Yeah.
Where what we need to do, we need to make the space so that beautiful product, and there are some amazing products on there, really packs into that hair and starts to do its job.
Yeah.
And do leave it on for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But
are you a mid-lengths and ends?
I am a mid-lengths and ends. I was just about to say. Here, where the hair is freshly keratinized, this is nice and fresh, about a year's growth there, you only really need the treatment, because people buy the most moisturising or most protein or most this, and they kind of put it here and they go, oh no, it's made my hair too greasy. Yeah. Oh, it's made my hair heavy. You don't need it there. Yeah. And it's all about correct use. So you really need it where the hair is mid-lengths and ends. Yeah. So, and then I will always leave that on for a couple of minutes. I generally would never, I've shampooed and conditioned this morning. That conditioner went nowhere near my scalp.
No, my hair would be so greasy if I did
nowhere near. And then I would leave that, and then I would rinse it. A really good rinse, because you don't want conditioner or treatment residue on there. Yeah. But then after that, that's when I'll get my wet brush, and I will only use a wet brush. I will comb it through. And then, so obviously I've got extremely curly hair, but I also love a blow dry.
Yeah.
Coming here today, definitely got a blow dry. And I will then take steps before I blow dry and before I put my either wand on it or my wide irons. I will then prepare my hair for styling.
What does that look like? So
that looks like I will get I have Magical Remedy, which I swear by is my go-to. I love it, and I don't travel without it. I'll take a pea size of that, I'll cream it up into my hands, and I'll literally run that through all the layers like this, and then I'll get some Magical Potion to a thermal protector, and then I'll put the styling product on top of that.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3. But as you can see, my hair is fluffy, soft, light, and then I will blow dry. And I will blow dry properly before I run my irons over it. So I love a faux blow.
Yeah.
And I have to lock my cuticles down because otherwise, because hair is hygroscopic, my hair just wants every bit of moisture in the air. So I really have to be. And so from my menopausal journey with hair, I don't go any higher than 140 and on Revive. Revive is a feature on all our Cloud9 irons, and it's where the heat vibrates 8,000 times a minute just to diffuse and soften how that heat is transferred onto hair.
Yeah.
And so I had I think I went into quite early menopause, and I've actually been with Cloud9 for 3 years.
Okay.
And I started working for them in that education space. But just as they said, Marie, we'd love to have you on board.
Yeah.
We'd love you to start doing some education for us. I was actually in a menopausal hair crisis, and my hair didn't feel like my own.
As much as you probably didn't want that to happen, it's almost like divine intervention, because you're experiencing the thing that you are trying to help women with. Because one of the things I love about Cloud9, especially the brand itself, is I don't know if it's the right word, but I feel like it's a kind brand. So it's like when I've met all of your team, everybody's just very kind. Like even at the hair show, when like the big boss is doing all that, you didn't even know he's just like one of the general team. Like everybody's very kind to each other, but also like kind to the hair, kind like to the general public. Like I've just seen that you were giving away like straighteners and stuff. Like it just feels like a very kind place to be when you were at a time when you needed to be kind to yourself. So it's like a little bit like everything kind of came together.
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
I think
like alignment.
I think the thing people don't realise about Cloud9 is that it's a family company.
Yeah.
We are a hair heritage brand.
Yeah.
Everything, we're based in Harrogate.
Yeah.
So we're from the north. And everything we do, it comes from the team in Harrogate, and it's a really gorgeous family environment. And it sounds a bit utopian, do you know what I mean? But that's just how it is.
Yeah, I've experienced it like on the outside when I came to meet everybody, and you were all brilliant with Molly as well. Like, I could really feel it.
Oh, like, absolutely. Because for us, there's so much noise out there. There's so much noise, and especially in that space of what women should look like. I think we have a very human approach at Cloud9, do you know what I mean? And we just understand the needs of hair, and especially around that heat space.
Yeah, I absolutely love like looking, because obviously you'll pop up on my social media and stuff, like the different campaigns and stuff, like seeing different ages, different hair types, like everybody is included, and that massively for me, I think like so many people, like a brand, it just sets its sights on one group of people, where I feel like Cloud9 is for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we've just shot our Mother's Day campaign, and that Nancy and Millie work at Cloud9.
Oh, do they? Okay.
And it was their mum, so that was they are part of the family that own Cloud9.
Real hair as well.
No extensions, real hair. Yeah, it really is a wholesome, dare I say? Yeah, really quite, wholesome. And when I came on board, it was very much a different space for me, because I am pro hair space, And Cloud9 have been really receptive to, we have a youth team now where we take students who are kind of still in that learning space and make sure that they have opportunities to some amazing experiences, to make sure that they grow within the industry. We do a lot at colleges. So that's one of my absolute passions, is getting out into college. And I basically teach heat awareness, and I teach consultation after service, and just really empowering the students to have confidence to speak to their clients about hair care and looking after the hair and getting great results with styling throughout that hormone highway journey that I think I'll spend the rest of my career doing that.
Yeah, I think it's really important work, especially at the minute where students are really struggling.
Absolutely.
We've got like this next generation where they just really don't know what they're going to do. So like with Molly, she went in, we did hair extension stuff, but she decided to go right back to basics. So she's paid to go back to college. She's doing her MBQ because she's self-funded. Obviously, she works kind of under my umbrella, but she is really self-employed. And a lot of them at college they're reliant on salons. And she went into college last week, and I think nearly every single one of them has lost their placement. And this generation are just going to get so lost. And I think in 5 years, we're going to really see where the struggle is, because they're just not getting the education and they're not getting the support. And I think it's not that hairstylists don't want to support them or the salon owners. We need them, but they've just not got the support. So any extra education, I just think is so important, and letting them feel nurtured, and that those social skills.
Well, as a person in that education space, and as a parent myself, I have teens, 17 and 20. We still are seeing the effects of COVID and that whole COVID cohort. So our 16-year-olds now who are coming into that college space, they were our 12 and 13-year-olds. So there really has been a crisis of confidence to be able to be able to even speak to somebody, eye-to-eye conversation. So we're very much aware of that and want to be a part of what can we do to help.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it really is. I think definitely the COVID thing. I spoke on another podcast about how we had kids coming out at 16 from COVID, and we were expecting them to be confident and behave like 16-year-olds, but they were actually 14 in their
in their social
emotional
skills,
their emotional development, because they've had 2 years of not socialising.
Absolutely.
No eye contact, like you say, not even having mouths covered when they have seen people. It's completely changed.
Yeah, huge.
So I think we've got to give them some leeway. We've got to really be
support.
Passion.
Absolutely.
Help them with the passion, but also be empathetic with them, and understand that they are going to need that extra nurturing. And I think Cloud9 coming in and helping with that's massive.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, with the like you're saying, with the consultation and the educating your client, if you haven't got the social skills or the confidence to say, look, something's changing, like what can we do to help, that problem's going to, the next time they come in another 6, 10, 12 weeks, it's going to be even worse. And then everybody's in a bit of a tiz, the stylist and the client. So giving them the confidence to say it at the beginning will change the whole journey for both of them.
Oh, absolutely. So at Cloud9, we actually made something, we developed something really quite amazing. I'm so proud of this thing we made. It's called the temperature calculator.
Yeah.
And the temperature calculator is a free tool that you can go onto the website, find temperature calculator, and it will walk you through what your hair type is, whether it's coloured or natural or bleached, and it will walk you through what is the optimum temperature for you to style at any given time. Yeah. So obviously the input may change depending on age or service, or you might have been away and then had some highlights. So you actually need to do the temperature calculator probably 2 or 3 times a year to meet your needs at that one particular time. Yeah. And then I thought, this is amazing. I'm going to use this when I teach. Yeah. So we've been using this in colleges, and a couple of the tutors, when we first started using it, a couple of the tutors said, what an amazing activity to do in class. So
Just thinking that.
Now we have the Cloud9 temperature calculator is used by stylists to walk clients through that space, heat awareness.
Yeah.
And it's also being used by college lecturers in class as an activity.
That's amazing.
To be able to have that lovely conversation about, it covers hair type, it covers looking at unique hair types, is it coloured, is it natural, and then heat as well. So it's a really lovely tool.
You can do it together with your client, or the client can do it at home. Once you've taught the client to use the tool, in another 6 months, like you say, they might think, I'm just going to double check and check that I'm on the right temperature. So with, like, just going back to heat, so once hair's kind of all prepped and then you go on, do your temperature calculator, when a client is, one of the things that I see, and you were talking about this a minute ago, making sure that you blow dry properly, is that people will go in with a heat styler without the hair actually being 100% dry.
Oh, no.
So you see that a lot in hair extensions because they can't actually feel it. It takes such a long time for them to actually, like, dry the hair. Again, because what I always say to clients is when they're blow drying, I don't know if this is right, so you can tell me. So if they take away like 95% kind of blow drying down the cuticle, making sure that everything's nice and smooth, then we introduce a nice brush, like natural bristle brush, hopefully for most of my clients. Finish off smoothing everything out, hairdryer pointing down the hair shaft, keep everything nice and smooth, give it a little bit of shape and smooth it. But what I always say to them is stop for a few minutes and let the hair cool 100% and then feel the hair. Because I think what a lot of people do, they will instantly put the hairdryer down and then pick
up the
heat tool, can't talk today, and then go straight in. But actually, they don't actually know if it's dry.
No.
And then they're blaming the straightener, but actually they haven't dried the hair 100%. So I always tell clients to leave it a few minutes and touch it, and it'll feel dry, but it's cold. If it's still got a little bit of wet in, you'll be able to feel...
You can feel the moisture.
Yeah, a little bit, but just to do that little check before they move on to a heat tool. Because I think, I noticed that with a lot of people, especially like, say, if they're wearing alternative hair, they just want to get going. But even like, say, do that part, then put a bit of moisturiser on, then go back in and finish.
It's the time, though, isn't it? It's
like
the
you were
time.
saying.
And if somebody does have a new system, it's the time to do that. I think a lot of people just don't allocate enough time to do the hair, or they decide to do the hair in the morning, do it in the evening, then just top up it the next day and give yourself plenty of time to do your hair correctly.
Exactly. So once they've chosen the temperature on your tools, you've got the temperature.
We do. We have 11 settings from 100 through to 200.
Okay.
So that pretty much covers you for all styling on all hair types.
Yeah.
And you have Revive on every setting.
I try and explain sometimes to people what Revive is, and they don't understand until I touch them with it.
Yeah,
I don't burn them with the
No, none of that.
I will switch it on,
and
then I'll ask them to hold it and kind of hold it together, and then they understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think when you say it vibrates, they're like, that makes, like, it can be a little bit, like, they misunderstand.
So when I'm in that teaching space, I say, have you seen how if a phone rings and it doesn't have a case, it just gently glides, doesn't it, across the surface?
Yeah.
So everything about a Cloud9 tool is designed with cushioning, gentle kindness, so that Revive mode just diffuses that heat softly onto the hair. So it's all about creating a frictionless glide and it being really lovely and gentle. And
with you saying cushioning of so when you push it together, you can feel like a little plate.
So the plates have got a really fantastic suspension, a lot like a car, and it should cushion. And when the plates come together, there is actually a gap. And there should be a gap because we are moulding and shaping the hair. It's not a sandwich machine. We're not grilling cheese. We are there moulding and shaping That's all we're doing with that styling tool.
It's that
Is we're
being kind
we're
again.
either creating that sleek glide, or we're creating a wave or a kink or a movement to give. Because let's face it, hair looks beautiful. If you've had a gorgeous colour, it looks great blow dried, but you put some movement in there with a little cheeky 2-in-1 or a little kink, it brings the colour alive. You know, look at your own today. You've got that bend in it. You can see the application of the colour.
Yeah.
We, as human beings, love to see movement and texture. So you can literally take somebody with a bob, put a movement in it to open up the cheekbone area, really show off that jawline, and you can change somebody's face just by great styling, just to be really considered in the movement that you put in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think probably one of the other things as well that clients probably are unsure when they're looking to buy a tool. Like my go-to tool is, which I never thought it would be, but is a wide plate.
Yeah.
Especially because I've got finer hair, so
Gorgeous.
not necessarily like back in the day. I would have only bought a wide plate if somebody had super thick, long hair. But I really like the shape that I get from a wide plate. Is there like some kind of guidance that you have if somebody's looking at tools?
For me, I think as a hairdresser, I like to have all the tools.
Yeah.
Because I just like to have that
Everything on hand.
accessibility to all movement. But you really have to look at your tools and go, well, what am I wanting from this?
Yeah.
And then depending on the individual hair type, so obviously wide always lends itself to long, thick hair for speed.
Yeah.
But for movement, you would be going down an absolute rabbit hole to go, this tool does this, because all the tools work on all hair types and can get lots of different movement and textures and shapes, just depending on the size of section that you've taken.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So
I suppose that's one of the good things about your campaigns, though, is that you can actually see all different types of hair styled with your tools.
Absolutely.
So if someone's not sure, I suppose they can go on your social media and actually look.
Oh yeah, and so all of the hair that you see, we've just shot another beautiful campaign with propaganda. And the most beautiful hair, the most natural, beautiful coils. We dried that with our gorgeous Airshot Pro and diffuser.
Yeah.
All the looks are created with our tools. Zero extensions on there, and it's very natural, wearable hair.
Yeah, I think that's what I've noticed. I think it's like relatable.
Oh,
people.
It has to
Different
be.
textures and colours.
It absolutely has to be. I think around tool choice, I think it comes down to whether the stylist and the consumer, the public, have that awareness around that heat, knowledge and understanding that actually no, I need to have that choice. I need to have 100 degrees, or actually no, my hair is really thick, it's very straight, and I actually need 190 on style day if I want to wave.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just not holding. Do you know, I can get movement, but it's just not holding.
Not lasting.
So there's so many variants.
Yeah. One of the good things, actually, I think when you came out to the clinic and you were showing Molly some different curls, and I've done this with a few of my clients, when they're afraid of trying to curl the hair, is I've said to them, and I think you did this with Molly, like turn it right down and practice the movement and actually practice the way that your wrist moves, so that they're not repeatedly going over the same bit of hair, and just give them, like you say, themselves that time to practice with the tool and see what kind of movement they're going to get, and just use that on a low heat so they can kind of see it without damaging the hair.
To practice first, because people kind of fall into different camps. They either go, oh, I can't curl with a straightener. I can't curl with a straightener, so I need a wand. But it's the same hand movements, it's the same section of hair, but it is about that practice and that knowledge. And on our Cloud9 website, we have got the most amazing how-tos where we go step by step on the process of getting that finished look. Because basically that's what you want, isn't it? You're wanting that tool to create this look.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of support on there, especially on our social media. And we've got a social media for consumers, but we've also got social media for pros as well, to be able to give them those tips on how to use the tools and how to get the best from them.
But as a stylist, I remember as like the styles and curls are changing, it's an awful feeling when you're looking at something on social media and you're kind of thinking, okay,
How do I get there?
how do I get there?
How do I unpack that?
Yeah, and you're trying to do it on a client and it's not quite getting there. And it can just literally be like, say, watching a how-to.
Absolutely, a how-to. So, you know,
hand movement.
So me, I always look at every piece of hair as a unique fabric. And then I kind of go, what shape do I want to put in that? What process do I have to put to keep that shape in that? So if you look at our Mother's Day campaign, most gorgeous, the mum, Rachel,
the lady
had
grey hair.
Stunning.
Yeah,
and she had beautiful classic blow dry, and then she has the most beautiful bone structure, and I thought I really want to celebrate those cheekbones. So I thought, right, and I love my 2-in-1. So the 2-in-1 has curved plates.
The one I always recommend.
Honestly, people who say, I can't curl with a flat iron, I can't curve, but give them the 2-in-1 and something magical happens and they create this beauty. So I thought, right, I don't want volume here, but I do want shape here. I want it to come in and then come out at the jawline. I just want to celebrate this beautiful woman. And that's what I did. That's how I followed.
Yeah.
I looked at the face shapes, I looked at the profile, and I created that movement around that. And before I could do that, there'd been many practices on different hair types. On my mannequin,
you
know,
don't
dolly
be scared
head.
to get the mannequin
She's
out.
in the boot now because she's going to Wales. We're at college tomorrow. So, and a practice, you have to practice looking at the shape.
Yeah.
You know, looking at the movement.
I think that was really interesting what you're saying. I think a lot of people, when they're styling their own hair, don't really think about their bone structure.
Yeah.
So when I'm teaching, I always ask them, like, choose a place, like, is it your cheek or your jaw? And this is where we're going to create, like, your first bend.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people will go above or below and then be looking at themselves and think, well, that's not right. And they don't they don't understand what it is. But it is literally looking at your individual face and choosing where you want to open up your face or, like, the area. It's like when your fringe is not quite right, it's too long or too short and it's not sitting
it's
right.
funny
The bend is the same, isn't it?
As clients, we'll look, and when you've done somebody's hair, if the proportions are spot on, and it's almost like looking at a piece of art, a client's eyes will kind of go, and they look at themselves and go, oh God, I love me looking like that. But if the proportions are just slightly out, they go, And it's about looking at face shape and profile, and it really is looking at it almost like a piece of art. I did a lady, did her hair recently, and she was about my age. And so we all did our hair in the 80s. And honestly, for me to have this flat hair, I have to mindfully do it. Otherwise, I'll just have a big bouffant.
I do love your big hair, though.
I do love it. So this lady said, I normally go for height, but she had a very oval face. And I thought, well, you don't need height because you're tall, you've got this oval face, you actually need width. So we dropped it all down and we really brought out the width. And she went, I love it. Look how modern look how, and it's just really looking at your face. And if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So when it comes to styling, when you're looking at it and you want a more modern, elevated, just look at the shape to kind of bring that kind of styling back into...
I'm at that age now where I'm battling with, like, I'm wanting my long extensions back, and I'm like, but I actually feel better, shorter, and I feel like it fits my face better. I'm sure next time you see me, I'll put them back in, then I'll think, what have I done? And then I'll take them back out.
I'm sorry.
But it is like, I do think sometimes you get to a point in your life where you're like, right, I know I need to make a change, but I don't know what it is with my hair. Like...
But you should change your hair.
Yeah,
your hair.
But you're not, sometimes as a wearer, you're not really sure what it is. Like, you need the guidance, don't you, from somebody?
Well, generally from your hairdresser.
Yeah.
In fact, your hairdresser should seasonally be saying, what little tweaks are we having? It doesn't have to be dramatic changes, but just little tweaks. And we should enjoy our hair, and we should have change of colour and change of style. Yeah. We don't all wear the same clothes.
Yeah.
So why on earth would you wear the same hair?
And I think the thing is, now we're through this other end and technology's changing, products are changing. We can have healthy hair that is changed as well. Like, I've just gone back blonde and my hair's really soft. But I did know that I had to cut my hair
to
start again.
Yeah.
So I was practical about it. but I invested properly, used my proper heat tools on the right temperature, and I don't do too much.
Yeah.
Colour-wise, I've like waited, but it can be done, and you can have all these treats and feel nice. Still, you don't have to sacrifice everything.
You absolutely
because
don't.
I went through probably like a period of 6 months where I just didn't do anything with my hair. It looked so fine and brittle. And then I'm like 6 months later, but I've done all the things I'm not supposed to do, but my hair's better and healthier. So I thought I was doing myself a favour, not colouring it, not putting heat on it. It was scraped into a bun, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And now I've done all the things. I've got bleach on it. I've styled it. I've done all the stuff, but it feels so much better, and I feel so much better. And it's like giving people permission to take care of the hair again. Because like you say, there's so much stuff out there telling them not to.
No, but it makes you feel great. When your hair's done, you feel great.
Yeah.
Honestly, at that point when I joined Cloud9 full-time and I had to stand up on stage and talk about hair health and heat in front of 350 people, and inside I had just cut a lot of my own hair off because I was literally in the eye of the storm of menopause. I didn't recognise my own hair, and I thought, crikey, and I'd done exactly the same as you, Shani. I thought, no, I'm going to leave it. I literally ignored all my own professional advice.
Yeah, it's weird though,
I literally got swayed by the media and don't do anything, and I just thought I can't do this. I need to take my own advice, my own professional advice. And so and now I think touch wood, I'm on the other side of menopause, and the hair is back. Yeah. I've taken a supplement. I eat considered. I've got a really good hair regime. I'm at my 140, and I know that I would only ever use Revive on my hair, and the results speak for themselves. I don't know today because I've been rushing around.
You've been all over Doncaster.
I've been all over Doncaster. But I'm really happy with my hair. When I touch it now, it feels good. It feels amazing because of all the practices I've walked my talk. Yeah, definitely. And so for Cloud9, we're very aware of that menopausal space, and we're really proud we've just got the MTIC. We're so proud. Obviously the MTIC is a part of the Gen M collective, which is I think there's over 120 brands that have gone through a rigorous testing and process to be verified as an MTIC product that will help people through the various menopause. I think there's 48 symptoms.
So just to clarify, because some people won't know what it is. So the MTIC is like I was going to say governing body, but what would you call it?
The MTIC is, you might have seen in Boots, it's certified that product will help support you through the 48 symptoms of menopause, and it's about having a better menopause and kind of taking control of your journey. Very fortunate to meet Heather Jackson. What a tenacious woman. And she is passionate about women being empowered and having a better menopause. And she's very much a realist. One day you might be feeling great and the next day you might not, but do you know what I mean? It's about empowering that day to day. So Cloud9 are absolutely thrilled, delighted and exceptionally proud of holding that MTIC.
Yeah, that's amazing. I saw a podcast talking about like menopause and like say one day you're feeling great, then you're not, but I can't remember what podcast it was that I was listening to. I think it was Elsa Ray, or she was on somebody else's podcast, and I really loved what she said, where what they think about women going through menopause and aging, they like to think about like Italian women, how they never try and be younger than they are. They embrace the age they are, but they do it like with passion and class, and they just and they just accept aging in a beautiful way.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's kind of what I see with like the MTIC and what I see with Cloud9. Like you celebrate each person at the age that they're at and do the best they can with what they've got. Sometimes that they might need a little bit of extra help, so it might be that they're wearing a wig or a topper or something else, but it's still helping them celebrate.
Absolutely,
at that time.
And you've got to. Do you know what I mean? You've really got to. I'm one of these that's, I'll get it sorted and I'll do it now and I'll make a list, I'll get what I need and I'll have that sorted and it won't affect me like it's affected everybody else. And realising that this is a journey.
Yeah.
It's a natural journey that all women go through, either naturally or it can be medically induced.
Because we went to that completely was amazing, that event with Boots that we went to. Yeah. I've still got my, I am actually going to do a podcast about it. I've kept my bag of goodies that I got from Boots. And I was thinking the other day, it's literally thrown in the bottom of my wardrobe. And I was thinking, I hope my cleaner hasn't seen my wardrobe open, because some of the stuff what's in there.
It was an eclectic mix as a goodie.
She might raise her eyebrows and be like, okay.
And that's the amazing thing about Boots, though. Yeah. Boots have got the most incredible teams, well educated, honestly, I adore working with Boots. They are so passionate about education and making sure that there's a wealth of knowledge for their customers. It's
I show everybody the Boots, like the part of the Boots website where it's about medically induced, because I see a lot of women in medically induced menopause, and just having those resources. I was like, a lot of people didn't even realise that they have their own chemists that are specially trained, and obviously you can get Cloud9 in Boots as well, can't you? That's why you work closely with them. But that was an amazing experience, and I think there's just so many things that are unspoken when it comes to menopause, and that's what that event was about. And it was inspiring, it was amazing. And I am going to do a podcast where I get my bag of goodies out and have all those uncomfortable conversations. Yeah,
you're going to have a show and tell.
I am. And I think I was talking about this the other day, that there are so many symptoms of menopause that women kind of shy away from and we don't talk about. And I'm willing to have the uncomfortable conversations. And like in that bag, there was some bits in there that we didn't understand. So I have actually done my research, so I do know what they're for now.
Happy days.
Yeah, so I want to have those conversations. But I think all of these brands and people coming together collectively to help women like take care of themselves through menopause and get them through the other side, whatever that looks like, whether it's a supplement or, like you say, choosing the right tool and confidently styling your hair at whatever stage it's at, or having a chat with a chemist to make sure that you are taking the right supplements. Like, there's just so many things now there to support women, and I just want to be a part of like that for people as well. I think it's really important that women, we talk about it.
Absolutely. And just having the space of conversation.
Yeah.
Having that space of conversation about menopause and being able to, like, I've spoken to my husband about it, I've spoken to my kids about it, and because I got to one point I thought, I think I'm going bananas. Yeah. I literally felt like I was losing my marbles.
Yeah.
Literally. And even joining Cloud9, I thought, Can I do this? I'm in my 50s. Most days I'm not quite sure where I've put my car keys.
Where were we where we both lost our car keys on the same day?
Oh, I don't know.
Where was it when we went to London? We both got there and I'd lost my car keys and you'd lost yours.
And so I talk about it now, and I'm really honest and I'm really open. And I must admit, I work with colleagues who are, most of them are considerably younger than me, and they are gorgeous and supportive, and I feel like they've got me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And my family. I think there was a couple of chapters from a couple of books, a couple of podcasts, a couple of TikToks that I sent to my son and my daughter and my husband, and I went, I'm not losing my marbles. I'm just going through the menopause. On any given day, I could have 1 to 48 of the following symptoms.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was saying that, like, menopause brain, a bit like baby brain, the brain is actually growing in other areas, so it has to just let other things teeter off. So your brain, it's not important where the car keys are, but it is important that it's helping you internally do something else and figure something else out and get your body back on track.
Yeah.
So it's like being kind to yourself and just being like say, this is just one of the symptoms. I have to just kind of not ignore it, but accept it and move on and not punish myself for it. And then I had a lady in talking about how when she hit menopause, she had to make a decision, and a lot of women feel like they have to shrink, especially in like workspaces. Like you're saying, you went in, can I actually do this? But she made the decision, I'm not going to shrink, I'm going to grow just in a different way, and still embraced everything. And yeah, I think back in the day, maybe that's why like women did kind of just shrink and they kind of disappeared and stopped doing the hair and stopped taking care of themselves and wore clothes that covered every part of the body and kind of just faded into the background, and women just don't want to do that anymore.
No. I think I look at it, autumn is my favourite season.
Okay.
I love autumn. It's unapologetically the most flamboyant, colourful, dramatic. 1 minute there's leaves and the next minute there's nothing. And definitely coming into Cloud 9, I thought, oh, God, Marie. And I thought, no, I am going to walk into this decade of being 50, into my 60s, and I am going to be autumn. Yeah. 1 minute it's the flowers of spring, and then the drama of the leaves, and then nothing, because it could be any one given day for me.
I think that's amazing.
And to put myself in a space where there's something of value to give to women, to give to people who style their hair, to give back to the industry, the hairdressing industry, to give back information, to give back empowerment. And I feel like I've put myself in a company that are very much in that space of giving back. Yeah. In the space of education and empowerment, and to be able to have the conversations around just feeling wonderful, having strength through kindness, having just to know that you're in a community where we just want you to feel wonderful.
And I can honestly say that is what it feels like to be around you guys. Like I know it's hard, I think, for consumers when you see something online because you're not sure, but that is real. For us that have been like on the outside, and then obviously with you guys at like the events and stuff like that, you really do feel safe, and people really are kind.
Absolutely.
And people really do care about what you're putting out there and the products and stuff. It's amazing. So I really wanted my listeners and like my clients as well to understand why I love Cloud 9 and like trust the brand and everything. It does make a big difference. It makes my job a lot easier. It makes them taking care of themselves at home a lot easier. And I think knowing, I just like to feed into brands and things that I align with and really feel that I can trust. And that's what I get from Cloud 9. What is the future of Cloud 9 then? Is there anything coming up?
Well, obviously our hair heritage is that, and it will always be. Yeah. And we will always, we have the most amazing product development team. Yeah. And we are always constantly looking at innovation, technology around beautiful, healthy hair, to be able to help all people. So I think it will be more of the same. Yeah. All our departments, our customer service is in Harrogate. Yeah. And we service the whole of the globe. Yes. You know, and we work incredibly hard at understanding hair, because that's the fabric we work with. Yeah. So that we make sure that our customers get the very best information, loads of knowledge. Our social media team are incredible, and we have a wonderful community space where we're constantly there to answer questions from our community, and then that goes through to all the events that we do. They're really kind of rich and inclusive, and really kind of, we really want to make sure that people enjoy the hair through all stages, and it's really kind of, and even with our brand partners, making sure that they understand the why we have the technologies that we do, and why we really are, I think, owning that space of beautiful hair that's lovely and strong, and just being kind to yourself, and just it's that really lovely
entwined
synergy and blend of hair meets knowledge meets.
So if because you work with stylists and also obviously work with a consumer, so if a stylist were wanting to work or use Cloud 9, what's the best way for them to do that? Do they go just straight to the website?
Well, we have an amazing website where professionals can go and register, and I think they get a 25% offering for trade, and then we work with an enormous amount of stylists and salons who have probably been with Cloud9 since our conception in 2009. And so we work on a lot of different projects with hairdressers around the world. Yeah. We've got a good, strong professional community. Yeah. Obviously, we'll be at Salon International this year. We've got our youth team, and our education program is growing. So it's really an exciting time at Cloud9 in that professional space and in the consumer space.
And then for like the consumers, they can purchase directly.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go direct to the website and purchase there. You can use the temperature calculator there. Yeah. And if you've got any queries, you can either contact through customer service or we have an awful lot of people reach out via social media. There was always somebody who will get back to you, and it's somebody at Harrogate. It's one of us lot. And if it's quite a technical hair question, it'll come to me. Yeah. You know, that's that kind of family all in together. We wear many hats, and we really look after our people to make sure that they get the best from the product.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's been amazing. I feel like there's so much information that even like going right back to basics will be so useful for people, because if somebody is getting to, like, say, the straightening part and not understanding what's gone wrong, they can go right back to basics now and go all the way through.
So if somebody goes, I'm straightening my hair and it's still frizzy, that's telling me either the temperature's not correct or the product that we've layered through the hair is not working. So there will if you have a hair concern or if something's not doing or it's not holding, there will be a hair step along the way that will be able to be implemented for you to have a more successful styling experience. Yeah. And that's the one thing on the Cloud9 we've got. On our website, we've got incredibly rich blogs of hair health and looking after hair and styling hair. Professionals like yourself, Shani, who've got a wealth of knowledge. It's just about accessing that knowledge for your individual hair type.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Oh, I've literally, and because I said to Shani, I went, Shani, have you got some questions? Because I'll go off on a tangent.
And I said no.
And you said no. But honestly, I absolutely love everything you're doing. I think you empower people so much who are going through this space, and you are so real. Thank you. You have such a beautiful, real terminology and how you talk about this space. You really do. You blow me away.
I try, but sometimes I think, does that even make sense? But I think I just have to do what feels right, and that I know a lot of people would come prepared with questions, but I know that I love Cloud9, and I just want to have a conversation because I trust everything that anything anyway. But I just want people to feel this, because I feel like this is a conversation we would have in private.
Well, anyway. This is how for me as a hairdresser, I will only ever use the best. I will only ever use the best. So whatever, I will only ever choose the best for my client. Because if my client's chosen me and they're paying me for my service, you bet your bottom dollar I have chosen the best for your particular hair type. And Cloud9, without a shadow of a doubt, will be my tool of choice every time.
Amazing. Thank you. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.
And that is a wrap. How long have we spoken for? That was amazing.
10:30.